Hello everyone, welcome to Tarun IAS. So today is the 132nd birth anniversary of the great leader Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, also known as Babasaheb Ambedkar. As you all know, he was a renowned Indian jurist, economist, politician and social reformer. He is also UPSC's most favorite leader. UPSC keeps asking questions on in prelims and mains based on his ideology, his contribution and his legacy. So let's have a 360-degree view of his life, his achievements and his legacy. So let's start. First of all, let's talk about his fact sheet of his life. So he was his full name was Bhimrao Ramji Ambedkar and he was born on 14th April 1891 in Mhow district of MP, and he died because of diabetes in on 6th December 1956 in Delhi. His mother's name was Bhimabai Sakpal. His father's name was Ramji Maloji Sakpal, and he had two wives. First wife's name was Ramabai, then second wife is Dr. Savita Ambedkar. In terms of siblings, he had two brothers and two sisters. Names of the brothers are Anandrao and Balram, and he had two sisters, Tulasa and Manjula. And he was survived by one children, that is Yashwantrao Ambedkar. In terms of his education, he was a very renowned, very intelligent jurist and economist. So he had plenty of degrees in his kitty. That is MA, Ph.D, MSc, DSc, barrister at law. He was also Dalit. He has also LLD. In terms of his major achievement, he is basically considered a god among the Dalits. He also belonged to the Dalit caste, that is outcast. So he vehemently opposed casteism and converted himself to Hinduism, and also advocated his followers to follow Buddhism and give up Hinduism. He vehemently opposed untouchability and Aryan invasion theory, which justified the caste and the jati system. In terms of important event associated with his life, there are two important satyagrahas. That is, one was Kalaram Temple Satyagraha, which took place in on 2nd March 1919, and the second one was Mahat Satyagraha that took place in December 1927. And in terms of his major achievements is that he was the chairman of the drafting committee of the Constitution of India, that is the founding father of the Constitution of India. In terms of his career, he started as an MLA in Bombay province in his political career. In Bombay province, he was elected as an MLA in Bombay province in 1937. Then he served as the Labour Minister in Viceroy's Executive Council in 1942. Then he became the first Law Minister of independent India. Then he was also an eminent jurist and economist by profession. Talking about, he founded three important groups, political parties. The first one was Bahujan Samaj Party, second was Independent Labour Party, and the third was Samta Sainik Dal. In terms of his literature and important books, he wrote two important books about caste, that is the annihilation of the caste, and the second one was Who Were the Shudras. In terms of important works that has been written on him is Adhunik Bharat Ke Sapoot, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, and the second one is Betrayal of Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. He was awarded Bharat Ratna posthumously. His one of the most important quote is, "I like the religion that teaches equality, liberty and fraternity." Next comes his important contribution to the various social reforms, various laws, various economic sphere also, and in terms of Dalit rights. So we'll have a quick look one by one. First of all, let's talk about his overall achievement. So he was an Indian jurist, economist, politician as well as social reformer, and he was also considered the principal architect of Constitution of India. He was also the brain behind Reserve Bank of India. RBI was formed in 1935 based on his ideas that Ambedkar presented to the Hilton Young Commission. Then he inspired the modern Buddhist movement and campaigned against the social discrimination of Dalits, women, and labor. He was independent India's first law minister, as we talked ago. The two most important quotes of his life are: "Life should be greater rather than long," and "I like the religion that teaches liberty, equality, and fraternity." You can use and or quote these important his quotes in UPSC mains answers as well as in ethics as well as in essay. Next comes the important concept from the constitution that highlights his legacy and his ideas. Some of them are abolition of the untouchability, that is article 17, which was incorporated in Indian constitution, was the product of his thoughts only. Then incorporation of the fundamental rights, incorporation of the parliamentary democracy. He was the strong advocate of the concept of federalism in normal circumstances and unitary form of government in emergency situations. He also called equality of opportunity as the most important fundamental right of the constitution. Next, article 32 he called and considered as the heart and soul of the constitution. Next comes protective discrimination, or the reservation as we call it, is the backward section like scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes, his most important legacy. Next comes the important as an advocate of Dalit rights, what was his contribution? So as an advocate of Dalit rights, he published 5 periodicals to defend the Dalit rights. First was Mook Nayak, also known as the leader of the dumb, in 1920. Then he started Bahishkrit Bharat, that is ostracized India, in 1924. It was followed by periodical Equality or the Samta in 1928. Then Janata, the people, in 1930, and then Prabuddha Bharat, that is enlightened India. He also wrote 3 important scholarly books on economics, which led in British government to find RBI, and his findings were also communicated to the Hilton Young Commission that led to the formation of RBI. So the names of the book was Administration and Finance of the East India Company, The Evolution of the Provincial Finance in British India, and The Problem of the Rupee, Its Origin and Its Solution. This book provided the base or the foundation that led to the formation of the central bank in India. Next comes his important fights towards the rights of the women. That is, because of his strong push, he was a strong advocate of the women's rights. These important laws were passed in India because of his legacy. Important laws being Mines Maternity Benefit Act, Women Labor Welfare Fund, Women and Child Labor Protection Act, then maternity benefit for women labor, leave benefit to piece workers, revision of scale of pays for employees, health insurance and scheme for employees, the strong labor unions, and he was a strong labor rights, strong advocate of the labor rights. So the strong protection to the laborers was his legacy in Indian constitution's laws. Then he also was the brain behind National Employment Agency. The Employees State Insurance Act was also passed due to his legacy, due to his efforts. Then Provident Fund Act, then Factory Amendment Act, Labor Disputes Act, and the Minimum Wages Act. All are his legacy. His other works include the formation and the foundation of Central Technical Power Board, the National Power Grid System, then Central Water Irrigation and Navigation Commission, Damodar Valley Project, Hirakund Project, and Son River Project. So these are his most important contributions. We will then proceed towards Panch Tirth, the efforts of the government in order to establish and communicate to the masses his legacy, to celebrate his legacy. So the scheme known as Panch Tirth is being developed by Modi government to celebrate his legacy. 5 places associated with his life are being called as Panch Tirth under this scheme. So important places are Buddhist Stoop in Indore, which is his birthplace. Then Diksha Bhumi, where he embraced Buddhism. It is situated in Nagpur. Then Chaitya Bhumi, which is situated in Mumbai, his memorial. Then his Shiksha Bhumi, which is situated in London, his residence in London has been bought and declared as the Shiksha Bhumi in his remembrance. And then in Delhi, a Mahaparinirvan Bhumi has been declared. So, and also one of the center named after him, that is Dr Ambedkar International Center, which was inaugurated by the PM Modi in December 2017. Here are some important quotes by him which you can use in various ethics answers, in various mains answer, in also in essay. So we will read them one by one. First is about, I like the religion that teaches liberty, equality and fraternity. So any essay related to the democracy, any idea related to the democracy, any answer related to democracy, this quote can be frequently used. Then his second important quote is, life should be great rather than long. I measure the progress of a community by the degree of the progress which women have achieved. Any essay related to the women empowerment or whatever you are writing to support women empowerment, you can always quote him because he was such a strong advocate of the women's rights. Then comes, the cultivation of mind should be the ultimate aim of human existence. Next is, men are mortal, so are ideas. An idea needs propagation as much as a plant needs watering. Otherwise, both will wither and die. You can frequently quote this in terms of, it is very relevant in many schemes like Startup India and many other spheres. Next comes, the relationship between husband and wife should be one of the closest friends. This you can quote while you are talking about conjugal relationship on and also in your sociology answers. Every man who repeats the dogma of a mill that one country is no fit to rule another country must admit that one class is not fit to rule another class. Next, important quote is, a great man is different from an eminent one that he is ready to be the servant of the society. So this speaks very much about the wisdom. Next comes, so long as you do not achieve the social liberty, whatever freedom is provided by the law is no avail to you. So in terms of social and economic equality and liberty, you can quote him. Also in terms of law and order are the medicine of the body politic, and when the body politic gets sick, medicine must be administered. In terms of bad governance, we can quote this also. And about dictatorship and the political tyranny, he says, political tyranny is nothing compared to the social tyranny, and a reformer who defies society is more courageous man than a politician who defies government. So that's all about the legacy of the great leader Dr. Ambedkar. We'll come up with more of such videos. Please suggest in the comment section on which leaders or on which theme do you want us to create videos. Till then, like, share and subscribe and join our courses. If you like, you can visit tarunis.com. Signing out.